Emma, great to sit down and have this chat. Talk about this programme, bringing through more coaches.
Well, I think from someone who grew up playing inner city sports and not getting access to free football, I think the fact that McDonald's have put together an opportunity for 500,000 children to access free football and also create inclusive situations, for me is something we don't talk about enough, so I'm delighted to be part of it.
What's that challenge in terms of striving for inclusivity?
Well, I think, first of all, access. You think 1 in 3 disabled children can't access football in the way that they should be able to. For me, is a key component of why free football like this, delivered by more than 800 trained coaches, you can see the work they're going through today, means that we can keep football alive for everyone.
And it's about everyone having access to football, isn't it? The fact the concern is it can get more expensive and costlier, but we need people from every sort of social strata all getting into the game, all playing.
Yeah, and it's not just providing access, you've got to keep them there. So for me, the value of something like today is teaching coaches how to coach children with neurodiversity challenges, or deal with children with disabilities in a way to make them feel included as opposed to separate it. For me, that's the work that I think we need to do more and more of in coaching.
And does it make you reflect on your own coaching journey when you sort of look at these coaches and think how far you've come from when you were also in similar situations?
No, it reminds me of my journey. I mean, watching the coaches today, it would have been a similar time, I suspect, when I was 17, 18, being put through a similar course, whether it be by McDonald's or anybody else, which I could then take back to the streets of London. And for me, these are invaluable in a day and age where paying to play is growing.
Is there a concern that football could become too middle class?
Yes, absolutely. There's no denying that, which is why we can't scoff at the idea of 500,000 kids being able to access weeks and weeks of free football and coaching, and most importantly, given the opportunity to bring people together with different backgrounds. That for me is a sport that's for all, and one why we love it so much.
Because there have been questions, particularly in women's football, about the lack of diversity in squads.
Yeah, I mean, that's without doubt. There is work going on in the background, I know, but it's been a long time coming. I certainly have championed access and opportunity and inclusion, because without it, I don't even think at the top level we will thrive in the same way. So it's critical that we do address that balance.
For so many of these coaches here today, the chance to meet you must be incredible. It must make you think about your standing, because obviously as you prepare to leave for the United States, you stand alone as perhaps the most successful English manager of this generation.
No, it's my chance to meet them. It's the other way around. I want to hear their stories. I want to hear their challenges and their unique experiences with the kids that they're influencing. And these are volunteers that are putting a lot of time and effort into our streets and into our communities. So today's about them.
Yeah, and as you sort of just they're bringing through the sort of the next generation of players, hopefully too. You sort of think about all you've achieved at Chelsea. Do you now sort of reflect on everything that you've managed to do from when you arrived to where you are now in terms of the stature of the club and of the game, and and how much of that fight is something that translates into wider society and how people can sort of fight for access and resources?
My mum said it to me the other day. She said, you don't realise what you've done. And I said, why would I? I've not worked a day in my life. I do something I love. I get to develop people in many different ways. So for me, the joy is in the service I've given to something, not the reward. The rewards are those things, not medals, not achievements. And I'm just grateful I've been given the opportunity.
What are those parts of the service that you particularly cherish? The lives you've changed, the things that you've transformed?
Yeah, I think so. When I think about all the challenges they go through as human beings, whatever that might be, whether it's dealing with different adverse situations, death, breakups, lack of confidence, reaching the end of their career, children, whatever that might be, I think I just enjoyed the part of being in their lives and help them navigate, different parts of it.
I suppose you've had to experience so many of those traumas, the highs, the lows as well. You've talked so movingly about losing one of your twins and also some of your own health challenges along the way.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think, everybody has to deal with their own life challenges. I've had mine, no different to others, but I think I've always tried to attack it in the best way I can, and if I can help people along the way with my experiences or educate around the things I might have learned, then I've always wanted to use my platform in the best way possible.
Talk about using a platform. It's an election year without being too political.
Oh.
If you were in Downing Street, what would you do? What would you change?
I'd bring back youth workers. I've always valued looking after young people. I would make sure that there is certainly more support for young people up until the age of 18 so that we can develop people into the best adults they possibly can and to give them the most amount of opportunity. I would absolutely focus on youth.
And as the youth sort of come into employment, in football there is still that acknowledgement there isn't true equality, particularly on pay. How will that be achieved?
Well, we're working towards that, I think it's fair to say. I think the women's game, as we know, was banned 50 odd years, so we've got a lot of ground to make up. But with more and more investment into the game, with more and more sponsorship, with more and more sold out stadiums, it will be inevitable that it will move in that direction, but it will just take time.
Is that the thing you get girls and women coming up to you, whether it's in the street, asking you about that because it's such a sort of dominant talking point?
Yeah, always. But one of the things I've always wanted to champion is equal access. I want girls and women to be provided with the same opportunities. So we talk about having more youth workers or youth clubs. Also want to get more access for girls in PE in schools. It's still, below that for boys, and something that, absolutely should be challenged.
And as you sort of head towards the United States, it's not, no one likes to talk about money, but so much actually about your deal to coach the US team is that sort of pay parity with the men's job, which for so many will be quite inspirational.
Look, I get to go to an Olympics, I get to go to a World Cup. There is no cash machine in heaven. Money is not my motivator. However, I felt valued, and that was important. But for me, the memories will be the things I cherish the most, and hopefully some more medals.
Are you even able to grasp yet, particularly as we sit here at St George's Park, that when you're at the Olympics, a World Cup to come, you'll become one of the most famous sporting faces in the US, hopefully?
I don't think of it like that. I've had a really amazing career, and I always said I come from a household where you had to work hard and nothing was a given. So for me to be even in a position to lead a team to an Olympic medal is just what dreams are made of, and I intend to make the most of it.
And to become a world champion?
Yeah, absolutely. I of course I inspire to do those things, but I want to do more than that. Winning is one part of it. I want to continue to influence in the best way I can.
Is there like trepidation in the US, the fact things are sort of so politically divisive, you might adopt a different persona, or will you just be yourself?
I'm there to think about football and think about winning for the United States when the time comes. For me, my interests and my intentions will be set around that. And
now you're making this big move, do you always have ambition to look ahead and think, actually, what is the pinnacle beyond that?
No, I don't. I don't think beyond sort of, what my focus is. I think I want to be in a position where I can have another adventure. I get to enjoy, being a part of another country, and something for me and my son to look forward to. And I don't look beyond that, but I feel fulfilled. So whatever happens beyond that, I don't know, but I'm also not looking too far into the future either.
Not even when you're here at St George's Park thinking, what about coaching one of the England teams one day?
Oh, listen, England have a fabulous coach in Serena, as we know, who's committed to another long-term contract. Coaching is a business where You know, it can change from one day to the next. So I'll never say never to anything, but you know, I'm certainly looking forward to what's in front of me with USA.
And how much is driving you to win that Champions League for the first time?
Well, I think it almost feels like every conversation I have, there's talk around it. What I know is that I just want my team to be at their very best and put everything they can into winning this year, and I'm certain that we will do that.
I mean, I suppose one of the challenges you've awful injury for Sam Kerr is thinking about those unpredictable elements. Do you sometimes think maybe there's almost too much football?
Well, I think, as you know, many people have talked about, you know, injuries are a part of football, a part of sport. But what goes into causing injuries like the one Sam has got, I think is multifaceted. There's lots of reasons. And of course the calendar, among other things, are part of that.
Is that something that you perhaps will have a different perspective on when you go in to become a national team coach as well?
I'm sure I'll have a different perspective on a number of different things, considering that I won't have players on a day-to-day basis. But as I get to develop a different part of myself to prepare a team when they come into their camps and things like that. But I don't have to think about that just yet. I have to think about a game coming up at the weekend, and I think about winning for Chelsea.
Is that the sort of challenge in the sort of coming weeks and months, juggling the two things, knowing you've got so much to achieve with Chelsea?
No, because I don't have to juggle it. I'm contracted to Chelsea until the end of the season, and they have my full commitment, and you simply can't juggle two things like that, and everybody understands that, and the players have my full focus and attention, and you know, like I said, I'm looking forward to winning with Chelsea.
I'm sitting here doing this interview looking at the sign that says League Managers Association,
Yeah.
with their offices right here. So many tap into your insight and knowledge to know what makes such a successful manager.
They've already texted me to say I need to go up and say hi when I'm here, so thanks for the reminder. So we'll go up and see some brilliant people that help people like me to survive and thrive in the business we are in.
And how do you survive and thrive?
Good sleep, good family, good people around me, and remember I get to do what I love for a living, so there's a lot worse things I could be doing with my time, so as I always say, I'm really, really grateful.
And so many will be grateful for everything that you've achieved here, and
Thank
wishing
you.
you luck in the United States.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.